Alright guys, welcome back. I'm sitting in the truck on the end of the greens field and it's pretty windy, but I'm gonna get out and walk around and get a little video, but I didn't want to talk when I was outside because I know it's maybe hard to hear me. But we getting lots of people every day, and between now and Thanksgiving, if the weather's good, this is kind of peak time for the greens. It's starting to cool off a little bit, which helps. You got the Thanksgiving holiday coming up at the end of November, and we have not had a freeze on them, and so we've had some rain, and they've really looked better than they did a few weeks ago because they were struggling because it was in the 90s a lot and it was bone dry. So the greens have perked up, and we've got some rain tomorrow, so we'll probably have to close it for a couple of days, but all we need is about a day of sun after a rain and we can open it back up. So we definitely need to have some good weather to keep it open from now till Thanksgiving. Collard greens, and this section here is turnips. These are some long rows. And then the 3/4 of the field, I've got 3 big sections here of mustards. Okay, we'll switch gears a little bit and look at my cover crops. If you'll remember, this is wheat and Austrian winter peas. This is what the Austrian winter peas looks like right there. Of course, the wheat is this. Few weeds, pigweeds, isolated, they'll die down when it freezes. A few volunteer watermelons like those. Some of this stuff here that looks kind of like turnips is going to be, I think, tillage radishes. They were in there by accident. Our cover crop seed comes pre-mixed in 1-ton super bags, and it was probably left over or something in the blender or the mixer or something, but we've got a few of those, not too many. It's a little bit, well, it's not uniform, and that's because of the moisture situation. Places like this where it looks a little thin, you zoom in and the wheat's just smaller because it came up later. A lot of places it's thicker and it'll kind of fill in later on, but it's a lot of variation in places, and it's just because some of it came up right when we planted it and some of it didn't come up at all until we got a rain or two on it, and that was probably almost 4 weeks after we planted it. But overall, I'd say it looks pretty good. We've got multiple fields like this, and it's not quite as thick as last year. That's just because last year it rained right after we planted everything, but I think it'll be good enough. It's been so warm that the size on it is already pretty good. I mean, most of the wheat is probably 12 to 18 inches tall, some of the older stuff. I don't like to zoom in too close or get too close to the people picking. I don't want to make them nervous that I'm videoing. Greens are 100% you pick. We provide the sacks out there by the gate, and we've got it all on the honor system. Everybody picks and leaves their money in a lockbox up there by the gate. That's the way we've done it for 30 years. So it works pretty good. I mean, I know there are some people that are dishonest, but for the most part, people pay. The individual people pay per sack, and they use our sacks. That way everything is uniform, and we keep the sacks right here by the gate where they leave their money, and we keep the sacks full all the time, and they just grab whatever sacks they need when they pull in. The guys that are reselling will sell by the truckload, and we charge them by the truckload, and those guys will load up. In fact, I think in part of the clip I just showed you, you saw kind of a bare section out in the field. That's where some of those guys will just take a section and just strip it all when they're filling up their trucks. And when it's too wet, we have everything fenced with gates, and we can close it and lock it to keep people out until it dries up. On the greens, we leave them usually until New Year's. Once we've picked on them, about 8 weeks after we let people start picking them, is usually around Thanksgiving. And by then, a lot of times they kind of start to go downhill a little bit. Either the bugs will get in them, or we'll get a real hard freeze, which we've had the last 2 out of 3 Decembers. Actually, we've had a record cold freeze just kind of out of nowhere. Or they just get old. But a lot of times that doesn't mean they're over. They'll start to kind of put out new growth. So I'm not in any super hurry to clean them up. I got plenty of time, so I just leave them. And if we don't have as many people picking them in December and all, that's fine. As long as we still got people coming, I just leave them. So once we get past New Year's and I get some dry weather, then usually that's when I clean them up. But we don't really advertise it. It's amazing how many people come. I've mentioned it kind of before, but we sell so many more greens because we sell sweet potatoes, and vice versa. We sell more sweet potatoes because we have the U-Pick greens. So they work real good together. And it's interesting too that we get a whole different crop of people in the fall coming here than we do in the summer. It's not the same people, maybe a little bit, but not generally. It's not. And so that's always kind of interesting too. And you might say too, well, it looks like you planted a whole lot more than you needed. And I do usually. It doesn't cost me that much to plant a big field of them, but I'd rather have more than not enough. And I'd rather have more in case something happens to some of them or half of them, or I want to give plenty of places an opportunity for people to pick. So that's why we do that. But really though, a lot of them will get picked. But with the mustards, a lot of people, or most people, are going to break off the leaves. Well, those leaves will come back, so they kind of regenerate themselves. It's different, obviously, with the turnips, because if you're pulling up the whole thing with the bottoms, and that's it. But the greens it's a nice little deal for us, and it's something that I started way back from the beginning, and a lot of it's just word of mouth, but it's something that kind of grows every year. The only disadvantage is if we get a really wet fall and we can't get the people in there, because we can't let them out there if it's too wet or muddy, or they'll make a mess or get stuck or whatever. But other than that, there's really nothing but positive on the U-Pick greens. But thank y'all for watching. I'd like to get to 3,000 subscribers by the end of the year. So if you have not subscribed to us, I would appreciate that, and like our videos and all those kind of good things. So anyway, until then, we'll see y'all next time.